Hey everybody, it's Dr. Christine Kaczmar. You're listening to Smart Digestion Radio, episode 19. On today's show, I'm going to tackle your questions. Stay tuned.
Is that rumbling in your stomach? Or is it the earth moving? Time for the groundbreaking Smart Digestion Radio with Dr. Christine Kaczmar. The all things diet, nutrition, vitality show for the wellness-minded.
So welcome into episode 19. I have been on a bunch of journeys. I am freshly back from Phoenix, actually Scottsdale, Arizona, where I met with my business mastermind group. So just to kind of give you a visual, if you were ever a fan or are a fan of Big Brother, where all those people kind of room together, imagine 40 entrepreneurs hanging out in this mansion. It was quite a spectacle. It was very, very productive, but also I don't think anybody got more than a couple hours of sleep. So I'm back from that, fresh from that. I met a lot of great people, furthered some relationships that I've already established before that. And then before Phoenix trip, I was over in San Diego. And then before that, I was in New Hampshire. So I have been on the airplane quite a few times, and it's great to be back home for a few weeks before my next trip out to Missouri later, at the beginning of next month. So I just wanted to welcome you into this episode where I'm going to answer your questions. So this should be a lot of fun, and I'm going to try to feature this a little bit more often. And so let's go ahead and get right into it. So Judy asks, hot flashes. What is a natural remedy that really works? Appreciate the question, Judy. Here's my answer for you. You want to increase your protein intake. So you have to understand that the proteins and fats from your diet create your hormones. Typically, women are not having anywhere near enough protein in their diet, sad to say. So you want to be hitting around a 60 gram per day benchmark for protein. So just to kind of give you perspective, an egg, like a hard-boiled egg for an example, would be around 7 grams. If you're going to have a piece of chicken breast, it's going to be like maybe 20, 26, 28 grams, depending on how large the chicken breast is. So that just gives you perspective. Most women are eating too many carbs. So those are your grains, your pastas, your crackers, things like that. That is not going to help hormones. So from your proteins, they are further broken down into amino acids. And so these are the things that, really are going to calm you, like serotonin's your calming chemical, dopamine's your alert chemical. Whatever the case may be, it all stems from protein. So if you're not eating it, your body's not going to make quality hormones. It's definitely not going to help with the hot flashes. So clean up your diet, make sure you're eating enough protein, and that should help you with the hot flashes. So let me know how that goes, Judy. All right, next is Aaron. And Aaron writes, accidentally consumed something I'm allergic to, and now my stomach is flaring up. It hurts. What's the best way to get back to feeling normal again after a contamination? Wow, Aaron, hope you are feeling better. That definitely doesn't sound fun. So I'm assuming that I shouldn't assume, but I'm assuming that you are having a meal at a restaurant perhaps. That is the hardest way to control the ingredients, as we all know. You're not in the kitchen, you're not the chef, you're not preparing the food. So my first suggestion would be to eat out much less. Why? Well, just like I stated, you're going to control the ingredients this way. It's obviously going to be healthier. You know how much oils you're putting in. You know exactly what type of oil you're putting in. For example, you don't want canola oil ever or soybean oil ever. And a lot of restaurants use those two oils. So that's something. But also, you want to make sure you're taking a digestive enzyme. This is my specialty, and I'm an enzyme nutritionist. Enzymes do two specific things. 1, they digest food. 2, they help heal your immune system. 80 to 90% of your immune system lives in the gut. That's right. So clearly, that's a good thing to help the digestive system work more effectively so that the immune system doesn't have as much work to do. Remember, undigested food is kind of like food dust. So that food, the undigested food dust, if you will, is going somewhere. Why not have some enzymes to help clean up that mess? Some other things to do, I would never order your water with ice in it or lemons. I would just steer clear of that. That will just protect you a little bit more because, hey, let's face it, you don't know if the person cutting up that lemon washed their hands after they used the restroom. Who knows how old and nasty the ice cube makers are in these restaurants. Way back when, we're talking way back when I was 16, I worked for a restaurant chain called Bonanza. Anybody out in the Midwest, perhaps, maybe even in the South, they might remember Bonanza. I was sporting some really cool brown polyester pants. Yeah, some crazy striped shirt and a brown little beanie type hat. You got that visual? Anyway, the ice cream machine is another contaminating factor there. That thing was never clean when I was there. So, it's just, you're at the mercy of somebody else. So the best way to feel normal again after contamination is to, number one, eat only when you're hungry. When your body is sick, it's going to remove your appetite because much more energy is going to go toward healing you if you stay away from eating. So once you start eating food, we think in this country, maybe in other countries too, I'm not sure, that, when you're sick, you need to have toast or Verner's. If you're from Michigan, you know what I'm talking about. You don't need to eat when you are sick. If you do not have an appetite, that's your body's way of saying, hey, stay away from this food, let me heal, and that's going to definitely be the best way to do so. Any animal, any pet you have, you'll notice they don't even go anywhere near their bowl when they're sick. You're not going to get them to eat. They just know that they don't want to do that. So we need to be more like our pets as far as that's concerned. Great question, Aaron. All right, next up is Brady. Brady says, my husband has the worst heartburn. He's on Protonics, but he throws up almost every night from reflux. Yeah, so this is something that I see a lot of in practice. Our patients who have heartburn issues, GERD, all this esophageal erosion, all kinds of scary, nasty terms that they give to it. But here's what has to be understood, and that is the cause of this problem is, number one, the mucosal lining of the esophagus isn't intact, or perhaps even in the stomach. So acid's then going to penetrate areas that aren't protected by the mucus, hence the heartburn. Number two, we need to understand the foods that are contributing to this problem. Guess what foods contribute to this problem that you're probably not thinking about? You ready? Grains. That's right. I'm going to completely come back here and give you another reason why you should be avoiding wheat. All right? Removing grain from your diet is definitely going to help with the heartburn situation. It's very inflammatory because it's been genetically modified in this country. So most people typically will think, if they have a heartburn complaint, they're going to think of something like, they should avoid tomato sauce or spicy foods or the Tabasco or jalapeno peppers. Possibly, but I bet you're going to find greater relief by avoiding the grains in your diet. Pretty interesting there. You wouldn't think it, but that's definitely a link to removing your heartburn. Next, this drug he's taken, Brady, the Protonics, any kind of proton pump inhibitor, or an antacid, really, is what we're talking about. These types of drugs prevent the body from performing two key digestive functions. Number one, they prevent your stomach from getting to a certain pH where you're not going to absorb minerals. Things like sodium, zinc, calcium. So yes, you're going to lose calcium over the course of time when you're taking these drugs, which could lead to osteoporosis. You're going to lose sodium over the course of time taking these drugs. So you're going to be more prone to constipation because you're not getting salt over to the liver to make bile salts to help move your bowels. Remember, the more thick and pasty your bile, the worse your constipation. The more watery or thin, if you will, your bile, the worse your urgent diarrhea. So that doesn't sound good. So that's the first thing that these proton pump inhibitors do, or antacids, is they prevent your body from absorbing minerals. Guess what? You need them. Number two, the switch that's shut off when you take these is you are less apt to digest proteins properly. Again, there's a certain pH that your stomach must reach for the switch to turn on protein digestion occur. So it's not going to switch on if you're taking a proton pump inhibitor. It's not going to allow the stomach to get that acidic. And we need that acidity or that low pH for these processes to occur. So go to the cause of the problem, which is you want to find out where the esophageal lining, where the stomach lining has worn away from the mucus, and put back mucus, patch it up with mucus. I do that in practice. And then number two, you want to make sure you're looking at your diet, seeing what you are eating that is contributing to this heartburn mess. Things like grain. So that's definitely a great question there. All right, my next question comes in from Jackie. And Jackie writes, what foods do you recommend that will help boost my immunity? Great question, Jackie, and I'm going to be super simple in my answer for you. Come on, that's my job here on Smart Digestion Radio, to make it nice and easy. And my answer to you is eat plants. So your green leafy vegetables, your fruits, your blackberries, your red berries, your organic raspberries, organic fruits, vegetables, whenever you can, of course. Avocados. These are the foods that I am a big giant fan of. They're natural. They're from plants. Easy on the immune system. And remember, your immune system is in your gut, 80 to 90% of your immune system. And so when you think of the immune system, you could also alternate the word lymphatics. You can also insert the words white blood cells. These all are part of the same system. Lymphatics, immune system, white blood cells. So the more fruit you eat, the more vegetables you eat, the less impact it has on your immune system. The food that you consume that has the greatest or the most stress imposed on the immune system, canned cooked meat. Okay, canned cooked meat. In fact, there is scientific research that proves this, that when somebody eats canned cooked meat like Spam or like baby food, okay, there is such a huge, enormous spike in the white blood cells. It's as if that person was poisoned. So yes, your immune system works so extraordinarily hard when you're having cooked canned meat. So that is something you want to be cautious of. So the very least stress on your immune system is when it was found that when you're eating fruits and vegetables. What a concept. So thank you for that question. Next up, we have a question from Kristen, who says, can lots of probiotics knock out a stomach virus? What else can help? Awesome question, Kristen. So the answer to that is indirectly is no, because a probiotic, which is not an enzyme, by the way, a probiotic is a bacteria. Specifically, the only bacteria you really need in the gut is Lactobacillus acidophilus. That's a bacteria. It's not going to touch a virus. So this is something that's really something that irks me in the medical community, is when somebody has a virus and the doctor recommends an antibiotic. That's just futile. It's doing nothing but ripping up your gut and destroying your flora, because a bacteria is going to do nothing. An antibiotic is going to do nothing to a virus. It just doesn't work that way. So kind of getting back to probiotics, they are essential, but you want to be sequential about it. Meaning, if you have a lot of debris in your gut, you want to clean that up first before you repopulate with good bacteria. So I guess the question is, well, how do I know, Dr. Christine, if I have a lot of debris in my gut? Without being tested, because I test for that in my office, but without being tested, do you have a lot of bloat? Do you have a lot of painful gas? Do you have a lot of cramping in the abdomen? These are usually indicative of somebody that has some debris going on in the digestive system. John Wayne and Elvis Presley, they found 25 pounds and 40 pounds of undigested poop on autopsy. 25 pounds and 40 pounds inside their body. So that's a lot of waste. That's a lot of weight that they were carrying around in waste. How many pounds do you have? Have you ever considered that? If you're not moving your bowels every day or multiple times a day, that has to go somewhere. And so where it is probably still inside of you. So a probiotic is essential. However, only Lactobacillus acidophilus. Don't get caught up in all these, we have this new strain of this bacteria. That's all complete marketing. All right. Why is Lactobacillus acidophilus the only one you need, Dr. Christine? Well, it's simple. Even bacteria poop. It just so happens that you want a slightly acidic colon. And Lactobacillus acidophilus is one of the few bacteria that poop acid. So it's going to actually embrace the right pH that your colon wants and desires. That's why Lactobacillus acidophilus is appropriate. Now, just because you might be taking kefir or yogurt that has live active cultures, that does not mean you're going to get the good amount of bacteria probiotic this way. A probiotic must be taken on an empty stomach, okay? When you start taking these yogurts, perhaps you do have some of the probiotic intact there, but you're consuming so much sugar in that yogurt, it's counterproductive. So I'm not a fan of it. So you really want to be taking a probiotic, Lactobacillus acidophilus, on an empty stomach. So your stomach is empty clearly when you first awaken, and then your stomach is empty 2 hours after meals. That concludes Dr. Christine's question and answer day. I hope you really enjoyed episode 19 of the podcast. I'm going to do this much more. So don't forget to check out my Ask Dr. Christine Live segment on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/thedigestiondoc. That's where you'll find me over there. Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I will answer your questions live, and you never know, I might feature one here on an upcoming episode. Also, don't forget to check out the website, thedigestiondoctor.com/19 for today's show notes. And also on that same site, thedigestiondoctor.com, Go ahead and get on my email list. If you're interested in getting my top 10 tips to tame your toilet, it's yours, free to download. I really appreciate you guys listening. Stay tuned for more fun and exciting things on the podcast, Smart Digestion Radio. This is Dr. Christine Kaczmar signing off. Have a wonderful and have a healthy week.
Thank you for listening to Smart Digestion Radio with Dr. Christine Kaczmar. Have the most beautiful day.